head of the whole operation at that time was Anastasia, or Anastasia, ever how you want to pronounce it. It's pronounced 2 or 3 different ways up there. And he was a kingpin. What he said, people listened. And Vivo Escalera, something, wanted to bring in hard drugs because he says it's a fortune in it. And so the other man said, no drugs, no drugs. So I guess Vito called Joe and his brother over to the office one day and offered Joe $10,000 to, I don't know, but that's what I heard. You know, I didn't see it, but I'll tell you, I'm putting it what I heard. And he said he gave him $10,000 and gave him 3 or 4 guns, whichever the choice to use. And they were supposed to hit Anastasia and put him out of commission quick. Well, it was only him and his brother, and that wasn't really enough to go into the Sheraton and do a hit right inside the lobby. And you was stretching it if you did, because it's always somebody walking around in there with a weapon, or some cop is walking through, or you just don't know, you know. You just don't take 2 people and go in and make a hit in somebody. And so a couple nights later, Joe called Virginia and said, told Virginia that he wanted to talk to me for Virginia to take me to a place to meet him. He says there's work to be done, and I understood what he was talking about. And so I went with Virginia. So he told me, he said, I haven't got a lot of money, but he says, you got to help me on this. He says, we're doing a hit. He told me who it was and how he was going to do it. And I said, no, I said, I don't want in that one. I said, I really don't. And he says, why? And I said, well, because it's stupid for one thing, and I value my life more than that. And I really didn't think they was going to make the hit. Joe got all pissed off at me and even threatened me. And I said, Joe, you threatened me. I said, you know, you and I are going to go to battle. And I said, don't threaten me ever again as long as I live, because I'll be coming after you if you threaten me, because I'm not going to give you a chance to come after me. And Joe said, I'm not threatening you, I'm just telling you like it is. And so the next night we was upstairs in a bar I've never been into. Is in Upper Manhattan. I don't know, probably about 67th or somewhere in there. Bar upstairs, and a big hall, like it was huge. It was used for a dance floor and everything. And so it was about 7 or 8 big mafia men there. I mean, big time mafia men. It's well known to everybody. And Joe was there. Joe was mouthing off to everybody. And so I just kept farther away I could at them, away from them. I didn't want to hear what they were saying. I just wanted, you know, kind of be by myself down there. And I was enjoying the free drinks and everything. So I heard Joe tell his one guy, head of everything, big guy. And he had like somebody with him. And this guy told Joe he called him a scrawny little bastard. He says, Joe, I want you to stay out of people's business. He says, I'm tired of you getting into people's business. And he says, you don't get into my business. And Joe really got violent with him. And so he's yelling backwards and forward, and the guy says, now Joe, it's enough right now. He says, cut it. He says, no more of it. And so Joe hushed his mouth. He took his drink and slammed out of that place. And he was gone maybe, I don't know, no more than 5 minutes. Man, he come back in that thing, waving 2 pistols. He blowed that guy's stomach all over that place. I mean, he put him from his chest all the way down to his knees. And the guy just went over. He didn't know what hit him. It was so fast. And Joe said, see, you don't mess with the gallows. He says, you don't mess with the gallows like that. And he said that over and over. And he says, you'll see us in history before it's over. That's the last thing Joe said. And he left. Well, you know, nobody said Joe Gallo killed that guy because, you know, they didn't want it. So they didn't know. Some guy just run off, shot him, and left. And nobody knew nothing. And they just kind of took the man away. And so it was the night before the barbershop hit. Joe come down 45th, down in the basement there, and he come over to me and he said, you mean you're not going with me on this, are you? I said, no. I said, Joe, I said, you're just a bad thing. I said, you know, you're going to get killed. And I said, I'm not going to be killed with you. And I said, you don't really know how to handle yourself. And he said, you think you do? And I said, yes, sir, I do know how to handle myself. I said, I'm alive. And I said, someday you're going to be dead and I'm going to be alive over it. And he said, I'll tell you what, you better get out of Manhattan after this thing is done. He told me that. He said, I better not see you in Manhattan no more. He said, because I'll hire everybody in it to hit you. I said, do what you want, Joe. I said, if that's what you want, do it. But I told him then, I said, Joe, I'll be coming to you. I won't be coming to the men hitting me. I'll be coming to you. He said, come on. He said, I'm waiting. He said, I'll be waiting on you. So next morning, I kind of walked out of the Astoria and went down a couple of blocks. It wasn't very far, separated them. And I was kind of across the street from the barbershop. Actually, I could see the Sheridan barbershop from where I was. And so I kind of waited around to see if it was going to, I thought sure that it'd be stopped, but it wasn't, boy. All of a sudden I heard shots coming from everywhere, and Joe got somebody to handle that hallway, and I don't know who it was. Shots come out of the hallway, and so I just turned around and looked in the window like I was shopping, ignored the whole thing, and until Joe and them got out of there, and I eased myself back into that story, and I went up to my room. I told Marion, I said, man, Joe just blowed that barbershop apart down there. And he said, oh, you got him, didn't he? I said, yeah, you got him all right. And so, that night, Marion and Virginia and myself and Bobby, Frank's wife, we was all there having a meal and a few little drinks. Not much, just a little bit of drinks. And here comes Joe in and his brother. And he walked over to the bar and buying drinks for everybody. So somebody asked him, what you been doing today, Joe? You been doing anything? Joe said, yeah. He says, we've been playing the barbershop quartet. And everybody knew what he meant, that he went in there and blowed them away. And another word was said over it, and went on. And then everybody, Vito, the whole bunch, started making plans to have a meeting with a man's name was Barbara, and he lived in Birmingham, New York, and he owned the brewery there, and it was a brewery and a soda pop company, and he was high in the mafia, and so he wanted to set up a meeting to elect new people to take Anastasia's place, and then there was hit going on almost every day. You hear about a hit or somebody getting it, and so the meeting was set in Birmingham, up in the Catskill mountains there in New York, and so at that time, Frank asked me to take somebody in there and be sure that he was safe. He was from Havana, and the president of Havana has sent him up there to learn what they're going to do on this mafia thing. Havana was deep into everything, drugs and the whole works, and I think most of it was coming out of Havana, going to be coming out of Havana. So this guy was very important for the meeting.